One step at a time. The orphaned boy told the millionaire's daughter, who was watching, everything. Michael Thompson felt his chest tighten as he watched his daughter Emma trying to take her first steps on the park lawn. The little girl, just 2.5 years old, had been born with a condition that affected the development of her legs, and all the expensive doctors he had consulted said the same thing: patience and physical therapy. That's when a boy of about 8, wearing worn-out clothes and a dark cap that hid part of his dirty face, approached little Emma, who was sitting on the grass, clearly frustrated that she couldn't stand up on her own. "One step at a time, little princess," the boy whispered, kneeling beside her. "That's how we learn." Michael, who was a few feet away, felt a mix of protectiveness and curiosity. That boy clearly didn't belong in this exclusive park in the upscale neighborhood of New York City, but there was something in the gentle way he spoke to Emma that made him hesitate before intervening. The boy extended his small, dirty hand to Emma, who looked at him with big, curious eyes. "Hi, I'm Ethan," he said with a smile that didn't match the dirt on his face. "Want to try again?" Emma babbled something and tried to lean on the boy's hand. Ethan positioned himself beside her, showing her how to shift one leg first, then the other. "Like this. First this leg, then this one. One at a time, like I learned when I had to run." He stopped talking as if he'd said something he shouldn't have. Michael approached with firm steps, his protective instincts taking over. "Hey kid," he called, his voice stern. "What are you doing here?" Ethan looked up, startled, but didn't let go of Emma's hand. She had managed to stand with his help. "Sorry, sir, I just wanted to help." She looked sad. The boy replied with a simplicity that disarmed Michael. "How did you get in here? This is a private park," Michael insisted, though his voice had already lost some of its initial harshness. I climbed the fence back there. Sometimes I sleep here," Ethan admitted, lowering his eyes. "But I don't hurt anyone, I swear." Michael was about to call security when Emma took a small step, still holding on to Ethan. It was the first time she'd managed it without crying or getting frustrated. "Daddy," Emma exclaimed proudly, looking at her father with a radiant smile. Michael's heart clenched. It had been months since he'd seen his daughter smile like that. "How did you—" he began to ask, but Ethan spoke first. "Where I used to live, there were other kids who had trouble walking. We learned from each other," the boy explained, helping Emma take another step. One step at a time, no rush. Michael watched for a few minutes. There was something about the boy's endless patience, the way he showed no hurry or frustration, that was completely different from all the physical therapy sessions Emma had gone through. "What's your full name?" Michael asked, his voice softer now. "Ethan Davis, sir, but everyone just calls me Ethan." "And where are your parents?" The boy hesitated, looking at Emma as she tried to take another step. They're not with me anymore," he replied simply. Michael felt a lump in his throat. The innocence in the boy's answer and the way he avoided details made it clear there was a painful story there. "Are you alone?" "I have my sister," Ethan answered quickly. "She's in another home, but I visit her whenever I can." Emma started to wobble, and Ethan immediately helped her sit down gently. "Tired, huh, little princess? That's normal. When we learn new things, we get tired." Michael watched the interaction, struck by the boy's maturity. There was something about the way Ethan spoke to Emma that was different from all the professionals who had tried to help her daughter. "Ethan, you said you learned this by taking care of other children. Where was that?" The boy scratched his head, adjusting his dark cap. "At a place where kids who don't have anywhere to live stay," he answered vaguely. "There was a physical therapist who came sometimes. I used to watch him work." "And do you remember the techniques he used?" "Some, but mostly I remember him saying that every child learns at their own pace, and that kindness helps more than rushing." Michael felt something stir in his chest. For weeks, Emma had been resisting her physical therapy sessions, always crying and refusing to cooperate. But here, with this unfamiliar boy, she was relaxed and even smiling. "Ethan, do you come here every day?" "Almost every day. I like being near the trees," the boy replied, pointing to a more secluded area of the park where there was a small shaded spot. "And do you sleep here in the park?" Ethan nodded hesitantly. "Only when I can't find another place, but I don't bother anyone, I promise." Michael looked at Emma, who was playing with leaves on the ground, seeming calmer than she had been in weeks. "Ethan, would you maybe like to help Emma again tomorrow?" The boy's eyes lit up. "Can I? Really?" "You can, but there's one condition. Will you take a bath and wear clean clothes?" Ethan seemed thoughtful for a moment. "I don't want charity, sir. If you let me help her, that's enough for me." The answer surprised Michael. There was pride in the boy's voice, even in his situation. "It's not charity, Ethan. It's a job. You'd be helping my daughter, and I'd like to repay you somehow." "A job?" "Yes, an important job. Helping Emma walk better." Ethan looked at Emma, who was trying to stand up again on her own. "Okay then, but I can't take money." "Why not?" Because I don't want to owe anyone anything." Michael was beginning to understand that this boy's story was more complicated than he'd imagined. "What if we do it this way? You help Emma, and I help you visit your sister more often?" Ethan's eyes widened. "You'd do that?" "I would." "What's her name?" "Olivia. She's 5. "And where is she?" Ethan hesitated again. "At a home, where they take care of kids. But it's far from here." Michael started piecing it together. The boy and his sister were in a vulnerable situation, likely separated by the child protection system. "Ethan, did you run away from there to stay close to her?" The boy lowered his head. "They were going to put me in a home really far away. I wouldn't have been able to see Olivia ever again." Michael's heart ached even more. The situation was more complicated than he'd thought. "And you'd rather live on the streets than be away from your sister?" "She's all I have," Ethan replied simply. Emma started whimpering, and Ethan immediately turned to her, softly singing a simple song that calmed her down. "Where did you learn that song?" "Our mom used to sing it to us," Ethan answered, not taking his eyes off Emma. "Your mom, she had to leave a long time ago," Ethan gently interrupted. "But she left us the song." Michael felt his eyes well up. The way the boy spoke about clearly traumatic situations, always choosing words that softened the pain, showed a maturity no child his age should have to possess. Emma tried to stand up again, and Ethan helped her, repeating the motion of supporting one step at a time. "That's it, little princess, you're learning fast." "Daddy!" Emma shouted again, proud to be standing. "You call her little princess," Michael observed. "Well, she's really pretty, and her clothes are pretty too. She looks like a real princess." The simplicity of the observation touched Michael deeply. "Ethan, can I ask you a personal question?" "Sure." "How old are you?" 8. I'll be 9 next month." "And how long have you been taking care of your sister alone?" Ethan thought for a moment. "Since she was 3. About 2 years." The information hit Michael like a punch to the gut. A 6-year-old taking care of a 3-year-old. What had happened to that family? "Ethan, do you trust me?" The boy looked straight into Michael's eyes. "I don't know yet, but you seem to really care about your daughter." "What do you mean?" "Most parents I've seen just get mad when their kids can't do things. You get worried. It's different." The observation was so spot on that Michael was left speechless for a moment. Emma began to yawn, a sign she was getting tired. "I think she needs to rest," Ethan observed. "Exercising her little legs is tiring." "You're right." Michael looked at the boy. "Ethan, how about coming with me to get some clean clothes for you? Then we can talk about how you can help Emma in a more organized way. You're not going to turn me over to social services?" The question was heavy with fear, and Michael realized he needed to be very careful. "I won't do anything that keeps you from seeing your sister, Ethan. I promise." The boy studied Michael's face for a few seconds. "Okay, but if I feel something's not right, I'll leave." "Fair enough." Michael picked Emma up, and the 3 of them walked toward the park exit. Along the way, Ethan stopped to grab a small backpack hidden behind a tree. "It's all I have," he explained. Michael didn't ask what was inside, respecting the boy's privacy. At the mall near the park, Michael bought simple but nice clothes for Ethan: jeans, t-shirts, new sneakers, and a light jacket. The boy insisted on trying everything on to make sure it fit, showing a practical concern that was painful to witness. "Why are you doing this?" Ethan asked as he tried on the sneakers. "Because you helped my daughter and because I think you need help too. I can manage on my own. I know you can, but that doesn't mean you should have to." Ethan fell silent, processing the answer. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, back to the story. In the mall restroom, after Ethan had showered and put on his new clothes, Michael barely recognized him. The boy had light brown hair, expressive green eyes, and a face that, now clean, revealed a natural beauty the dirt had hidden. "You look different," Michael remarked. "Better or worse?" "Different, but still you." Ethan smiled for the first time since they'd met. "The clothes are nice." "Thanks. You're welcome. Now tell me something. Do you really remember the physical therapy techniques you saw?" "I remember some. But mostly I remember that every kid is different. The therapist said you had to figure out what worked for each one." "And what do you think works for Emma?" Ethan thought seriously. "She's smart. She understands when you explain things. And she likes to feel important. If we make her think she's helping too, she'll want to participate more." The analysis was surprisingly mature and precise. Michael had noticed the same thing about Emma, but had never been able to put it into such clear words. "Ethan, can I ask you about your sister?" "Sure." "How often do you see her?" "I try to go every Sunday, but sometimes I can't because it's far and I don't have money for the bus." "How do you get there?" "Walking. It takes almost all day." Michael did the math in his head. If the boy had spent an entire day walking, his sister must have been at least 20 kilometers away. "And they let you visit her?" "They do, but only for an hour. And there's always someone watching." "How is she?" Ethan's face darkened. "Sad. She doesn't understand why we can't be together." "Do you explain it to her?" "I tell her it's temporary, that we'll be together again soon." "Do you believe that?" Ethan took a long time to answer. "I have to believe." The honesty of his answer broke Michael's heart. Back at Michael's apartment, an elegant penthouse in one of the most expensive neighborhoods in New York City, Ethan looked visibly uncomfortable. "It's so big," he remarked, glancing around. "Yeah, sometimes I think it's too big too." "What do you mean?" "When it's just me and Emma, it feels really empty." Ethan nodded as if he understood perfectly. "Where's Emma's mum?" The question caught Michael off guard. She doesn't live with us anymore." "Did she have to leave too?" The way Ethan asked, comparing it to his own situation, made Michael realize the boy was trying to see if they had anything in common. "It's complicated, Ethan. Sometimes adults can't stay together, even when they have kids." "Because of fights?" "Sometimes." "My parents fought a lot too," Ethan said casually, "before my mom had to leave." Michael sensed the boy was offering pieces of his story indirectly, testing whether he could be trusted. "That must have been hard for you and Olivia." "It was, but we had each other." Emma, who had dozed off in the car on the way home, woke up and started looking for Ethan. "Ethan!" she babbled, reaching her little arms out to him. "Hey, little princess, did you rest?" Emma smiled and tried to get up on her own from the portable crib where Michael had placed her. "She wants to show you she remembers what she learned," Michael observed. Ethan stepped closer and helped Emma stand. "That's it, you remember, one step at a time." Emma took 2 shaky but determined steps. "Daddy, look." "I see, sweetheart. You're doing so well." Michael watched the interaction, noticing how Ethan naturally encouraged Emma without pressuring her. It was exactly what she needed. "Ethan, would you like to have dinner with us?" "Can I?" "Of course." During dinner, Michael noticed how Ethan ate, carefully savoring every bite, clearly taking nothing for granted. The boy also shared some of his food with Emma, an automatic gesture that showed how used he was to caring for others. "Ethan, can I make you an offer?" "What kind of offer?" "How about you stay here tonight, in the guest room, and tomorrow we can talk about how you could help Emma more regularly." Ethan hesitated. "What about Olivia?" "We'll figure out a way for you to see her more often, I promise." "You don't really know her or me, why do you want to help?" The question was direct and deserved an honest answer. "Because in 2 hours, you've made more progress with Emma than any professional in 2 months. And because I think you both deserve better than what you're going through." Ethan was quiet for a long moment. "If I stay tonight, can I leave tomorrow if I want?" "You can." "And you won't call anyone to take me back?" "I won't." "Okay then." That night, after Emma had gone to sleep, Michael and Ethan talked in the living room. "How did you learn to be so good with kids?" Michael asked. "I didn't. I've always been like this." "Have you always taken care of your sister?" "Since she was born. My mom got really sick after she was born, so I helped." "And your dad?" Ethan's expression closed off. "He didn't like us." The simplicity of the statement carried immense weight. "And your mom? What happened to her?" "She tried to take care of us, but she couldn't do it anymore. Then one day she said we were going to stay somewhere safe for a while." "And you never saw her again?" "No." Michael felt a lump in his throat. "Ethan, do you know where she is?" "I know she can't take care of us. That's all I know." The boy's forced maturity was both admirable and tragic. "And did you and Olivia stay together at the shelter?" "For a while. But then they said they were sending me to a family in another city, and she was staying. I couldn't leave her alone." "Is that why you ran away?" "That's why I ran away." Michael began to understand the complexity of the situation. The boy had chosen to live on the streets rather than be separated from his sister. "Ethan, have you ever thought there might be other solutions? Ways for you to stay together without you having to live like this?" "Like what?" "There are families who adopt siblings together. There are programs—" "They already tried that," Ethan interrupted. "No one wants 2 kids, especially when one is already as big as me." The statement was made without self-pity, just as a fact. "What if there was someone willing to try?" Ethan looked directly at Michael. "Are you talking about yourself?" The direct question caught Michael off guard. I don't know, I haven't thought about it yet." "Okay, just wanted to know if that's what you were thinking." Michael realized he needed to be more careful. He couldn't create expectations he might not be able to fulfill. "Ethan, I'd like to get to know you and your sister better before making any big decisions like that, but I can promise I'll help you find a better solution than living on the streets." "Why?" "Because you're a child and children deserve a safe place to live. And because I helped Emma?" "That too. But mostly because it's the right thing to do." Ethan nodded, seeming to accept the answer. "Can I ask you something, Ethan?" "Sure." "Aren't you afraid to trust me? You barely know me." "I am afraid," Ethan admitted. "But Emma likes me, and little kids know when someone is good or bad. And you look at her the way I look at Olivia." The observation was so sharp it left Michael momentarily speechless. "How do I look at her? Like she's the most important thing in the world?" That night, Michael stayed up late thinking about their conversation. The situation was more complex than he'd imagined, but there was something about Ethan that moved him deeply. The maturity, the loyalty to his sister, the natural way he cared for Emma. The next morning, Michael woke early and found Ethan already up, sitting on the porch, looking at the city. "Sleep well?" "Yeah, it's been a while since I slept in a real bed." "Ethan, today I'd like to take you to see Olivia. Would you be up for that?" The boy's eyes lit up. "Really? Really? But first I need to call them and explain the situation. They won't just hand me over." "Not if I explain I'm interested in helping both of you." Ethan grew anxious as Michael made the call. The conversation lasted over half an hour, and Michael had to use all his influence and resources to convince the social worker in charge to allow a visit outside normal hours. "I did it," Michael announced. "We can go this afternoon." Ethan couldn't hide his emotion. Thank you. That morning, while Emma played, Ethan showed her some simple exercises he'd observed at the shelter. These movements help strengthen little legs, he explained to Michael, and she can do them sitting down too. Michael discreetly filmed, impressed by the boy's practical knowledge. Where did you learn this? Watching. I always paid attention when the professionals came to the shelter. Do you want to work with this when you grow up? Ethan paused to think. I want to help kids. I don't know how yet, but I do. The answer touched Michael deeply. That afternoon, on the way to the shelter where Olivia was staying, Ethan grew visibly nervous. What if she doesn't recognize me? It's been 2 weeks since I last saw her. Why has it been so long? It was raining a lot and I got sick. I couldn't make the walk. Michael felt a tightness in his chest, imagining the boy sick, alone in the park, worried about his sister. Ethan, what do you do when you get sick? I wait for it to pass. The simplicity of his answer was heartbreaking. But what if it's something serious? It never is. But what if it were? Ethan shrugged. Then Olivia would be alone. The ease with which he spoke about his own vulnerability showed just how used he was to having no support. The shelter was a simple but well-kept building in a lower middle-class neighborhood. Michael noticed Ethan growing even more nervous as they approached. Are you okay? It's just, she's going to see me in new clothes and might think I abandoned her. The boy's worry was both touching and revealing of how guilty he felt over anything that could be seen as abandonment. Why would she think that? Because she might believe I found a new family and forgot about her. Michael stopped the car. Ethan, look at me. You would never forget Olivia, right? Never. And does she know that? I think so. Then she'll be happy to see you clean and well-dressed, because it means you're being taken care of, and siblings want to see each other doing well, right? Ethan nodded, seeming a little calmer. At the shelter's reception, the social worker, a middle-aged woman named Mrs. Reynolds, greeted Michael with curiosity and Ethan with a mix of warmth and concern. Ethan, you look different, she observed. I took a shower and got new clothes, he replied simply. And where are you staying now? Ethan glanced at Michael, unsure how to answer. He's staying with me temporarily, Michael explained, while we figure out options for him and his sister. Mr. Thompson, as we discussed on the phone, the children's situation is complicated. There have been attempts at foster placement before. I understand. I'm here to learn more before making any decisions. Mrs. Reynolds nodded and led them to a visitation room. I'll go get Olivia. When the little girl appeared at the door, Michael immediately saw the bond between the siblings. She had the same green eyes as Ethan, the same light brown hair, and when she spotted her brother, her face lit up in a way that was impossible not to be moved by. Ethan, she shouted, running to him. Ethan scooped her up, and the two hugged, as if they hadn't seen each other in years. Hi, Liv. How are you? I missed you. Why did you take so long? I'm sorry. I was sorting some things out. But look, I brought a friend to meet you. Olivia looked at Michael curiously. Hi, she said shyly. Hi, Olivia. I'm Michael. Your brother's been helping me with something really important. What? He's helping me take care of my daughter. She's learning to walk, and Ethan is really good at teaching. Olivia smiled proudly. Ethan is good at everything. He took care of me when Mummy couldn't. The innocent statement revealed so much about the family dynamic they'd lived through. And do you like staying here? Michael asked. It's nice. There are other kids, and the ladies are kind, but I want to stay with Ethan. Why? Because we're family. Family stays together. The simplicity of her child's logic was undeniable. During the visit, Michael watched the siblings interact. Olivia showed Ethan her drawings, told him about the other children, asked questions about where he was staying. Ethan answered with endless patience, clearly absorbing every detail of his sister's life. Ethan, are you eating well? Olivia asked. Yes, I am. And you? I am. But the food isn't the same as what you used to make. What food did Ethan make for you? Michael asked. Sugar sandwich. Olivia answered, smiling. And sometimes scrambled eggs when we managed to get eggs. Michael felt his chest tighten, imagining those two children fending for themselves. Did you cook, Ethan? Simple things, so she wouldn't go hungry. The natural way he spoke about responsibilities that shouldn't fall on a child was touching. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps those of us just starting out. Now, continuing. Olivia, would you like to visit Ethan where he's living now? Michael asked. Can I? If the aunts allow it, yes. Olivia looked hopefully at Mrs. Reynolds, who had returned to the room. Would a supervised visit be possible? Michael asked. Technically, yes, but it would need to be evaluated case by case, Mrs. Reynolds replied. Mr. Thompson, may I speak with you privately? Michael nodded, and they left the room, leaving the siblings to talk. Mr. Thompson, I need to be direct with you. The children's situation is delicate. Ethan has run away 3 times in the last 6 months trying to come back here. We're concerned about his well-being. I understand the concern, but I also understand his side. You have children, correct? I do, a daughter. Then imagine how it would feel if someone tried to separate you. The statement made Michael reflect. He would do anything to stay close to Emma. What would be the ideal solution, in your opinion? Ideally, a family placement that keeps the siblings together. But it's not easy to find families willing to adopt 2 children, especially considering the trauma they carry. What kind of trauma? Prolonged neglect? Abandonment? Ethan had to take on adult responsibilities very early. Olivia struggles with attachment due to the separation from her mother. But are they okay with each other? Their bond is the most stable thing they have. That's why it's so hard to separate them. What if there was someone interested in a joint placement? We'd need to evaluate carefully. Socioeconomic profile, family structure, motivations. I see. Mr. Thompson, may I ask what your specific interest is in their situation? Michael hesitated. Ethan helped my daughter in a way no professional could. There's something about him, a maturity, a sensitivity, and seeing him with his sister, I realize they're special children. They truly are. Ethan is one of the most responsible children I've ever met, and Olivia, despite her initial shyness, is smart and affectionate. What would be needed for a family placement evaluation? Several steps: interviews, home visits, psychological evaluations, a supervised adjustment period. How long does the process take? Usually between 6 months and a year. And during that time, what happens to the children? They remain in their current placements. Ethan would return to the boys' shelter. Olivia would stay here. So separated again. Exactly. Michael grew thoughtful. What if there was a way for them to stay together during the evaluation process? How so? Temporary custody, perhaps. It could be possible, but it would require court approval. And even then, it would be temporary and subject to reversal. But it would keep them together. Yes. When they returned to the room, they found Olivia teaching Ethan a song she'd learned at the shelter. She's musical, Michael observed. Very. And she draws well too, Ethan said proudly. Are you artistic too, Ethan? I don't know, I've never tried. He tells really good stories, Olivia chimed in. When we lived together, he made up stories for me every night to help me sleep. What kind of stories? About 2 brothers who went on adventures and always stayed together in the end, Ethan answered, blushing a little. The metaphor wasn't subtle, but it was touching. Olivia, would you like to meet Emma? Michael's daughter? Is she my age? No, she's really little. She's 2. Oh, I like little kids. At the shelter, I help with the babies sometimes. See? Ethan said to Michael. She likes taking care of others too. Must run in the family, Michael remarked, noticing the pride on Ethan's face. On the way home, Ethan was visibly more cheerful. How was seeing Olivia? Michael asked. Good, she's okay. But you can tell she wants to leave that place. And you? Do you want to go back there? Only if it's with her. Ethan, can I ask you something? Sure. If there was a chance for you 2 to be together, in a family, would you take it? Depends on the family. What do you mean? If it's a family that only wants to help for a little while, no. If it's a family that really wants us, then yes. How would you know the difference? Ethan thought for a moment. By how they treat us. If they treat us like guests or like family. The answer showed the boy had already been in situations where he didn't feel truly welcomed. And how do you feel being treated in my home? I don't know yet, it's only been a day. The honesty was refreshing. Fair. What would you need to see to know? If you get mad when I do something wrong, if you treat me differently from Emma, if you act like I'm a problem, and so far you haven't treated me like a problem, but it's still early. At home, Emma was visibly happy to see Ethan. "Ethan!" she shouted, trying to run to him and nearly falling. "Easy, little princess. One step at a time, remember?" Emma took more careful steps and managed to reach Ethan without falling. "She's gotten better," Ethan observed, proud. "It's true. In 2 days, she's already more confident." During dinner, Ethan talked about Olivia to Emma, even though he knew she wouldn't understand everything. "She's my sister. You'd like her. She's pretty like you." Emma babbled something that sounded like sister. "Yeah, sister. One day you'll meet her." Michael watched the scene, touched by how naturally Ethan included his sister in every part of his life. "Ethan, can I tell you about an idea I've been thinking about?" "Sure. I'm considering filing for temporary custody of you and Olivia." Ethan stopped eating. "What does that mean?" "It means you could live here while we work things out permanently." "Both of us? Together?" "Both of you. Together." Ethan's eyes filled with tears. "Really?" "Really. But it's a complicated process and might take a while." "How long?" "A few months at least. And during that time we could stay here. If everything goes right, yes." Ethan was quiet for a long moment. "Why would you do that?" "Lots of reasons. Because you helped Emma. Because you deserve to be together. Because I have the space and means to help. And because I think we'd all benefit." "How so?" "Emma's already doing better with you here. I'm learning about patience and simplicity from watching you. And you two would have stability and the chance to just be kids. What if it doesn't work out? If it doesn't work for some reason, we'd find another solution. But we'd always keep you together." Ethan looked at Emma, who was playing with her food, happy and carefree. "Would she like having siblings?" "I think so. And I think it'd be good for her to have other role models besides me." "And you're sure you want to do this? Take care of 3 kids?" The question showed Ethan was thinking about the responsibility this would mean for Michael. "I won't lie, it'd be a big change. But yes, I'm sure I want to try." "What if Olivia doesn't adjust?" "We'll give her time and help her adjust. Change is hard for any child." Ethan nodded, still processing the information. "When are you really going to decide?" "I already have. Now it's just a matter of handling the legal process." "And have you talked to Mrs. Reynolds about this yet?" "Not officially. I wanted to talk to you first. Can I think about it a little? Of course, it's an important decision." That night, Michael heard Ethan talking to himself in the guest room. When he approached the door, he realized the boy was talking to Olivia, telling her about his day and Michael's proposal. "Liv, I think he's serious, but what if he isn't? What if it's like all the other times?" Ethan whispered. "But Emma likes us, and he doesn't seem to be pretending, and we'd have a real room and you could meet Emma." The one-sided conversation continued for a few minutes, with Ethan weighing the pros and cons, clearly torn between hope and the fear of another disappointment. Michael returned to his room, moved by the responsibility Ethan felt for his sister and the maturity with which he was handling the situation. The next morning, Ethan woke up early again. Michael found him in the kitchen making breakfast. "You know how to cook?" "Basic stuff. Learned out of necessity." "And why are you making breakfast?" "To help. If I'm going to live here, I want to contribute." The gesture showed Ethan didn't see this as charity, but as an exchange. "Ethan, have you thought about the proposal?" "I have." "And?" "I accept, but on one condition." "What is it?" "If at any point you think it was a mistake, you tell us honestly. Don't pretend everything's fine." "Why that condition?" because I'd rather know the truth and prepare than be caught off guard. The maturity of the request was both impressive and heartbreaking. All right, but it goes both ways. If you and Olivia aren't happy here, you can tell me honestly too. Deal. During breakfast, Ethan helped Emma eat, naturally stepping into the role of an older brother. Emma, Olivia is going to come live with us, he told her. You'll have a new sister. Emma clapped her hands, clearly understanding this was a good thing. Ethan, today we'll start the official process. Do you want to come with me to the courthouse? Can I? Of course. It's about you and your sister. You have the right to be part of it. At the courthouse, Michael met with a family law attorney, Dr. Sarah Miller. She explained the entire process to Ethan in terms he could understand. Ethan, you understand this isn't an adoption yet, right? She asked. I get it. It's like a trial. It's more than a trial. It's a chance for all of you to get to know each other better and see if you can become a family. And if it doesn't work? If there are problems, we'll try to fix them. But if it's impossible, we'll find another solution that keeps you together. Promise? Promise. Ethan seemed satisfied with the answer. The temporary guardianship process began that same day. Mrs. Reynolds was contacted and, though surprised, seemed hopeful about the proposal. It's unusual for someone to specifically want to keep siblings together, she remarked to Michael. Usually it's the opposite. Why do you think that is? Fear of responsibility. One child is already a big change for a family. Two children, especially with a history of trauma, can seem overwhelming. And do you think I'm being naive? I think you're being brave, and the children can tell the difference. While they waited for initial approval, Ethan kept helping Emma with her exercises. Her progress was noticeable, and Michael began documenting everything to show the doctors. Ethan, Emma's doctors will want to meet you, Michael informed him. Why? To understand how you get results that they couldn't. I don't do anything special. I think you don't realize it, but you do. During the medical checkup, Dr. Walker, Ethan's pediatrician, was impressed with the girl's progress. In 3 days, she's improved more than in 3 months of traditional physical therapy, he noted. Ethan has a different approach, Michael explained. Can I see the boy working with her? Ethan demonstrated some of the exercises and techniques he used. Dr. Walker watched carefully. Where did you learn this? He asked Ethan. By watching physical therapists where I used to live. And you adapted the techniques? Kind of. Every child is different, right? What works for one might not work for another. Dr. Walker looked at Michael. The boy is right, and he has a natural talent. Have you thought about him studying physical therapy when he grows up? Ethan turned red. Do I have to study a lot? You do, but you clearly have an aptitude for it. I'd like to study, Ethan replied shyly. And you will, Michael assured. Both of you will have every educational opportunity. A week later, the preliminary approval for temporary custody came through. Olivia could move into Michael's house on a trial basis, supervised by social workers. Ethan grew visibly nervous as the day of Olivia's move approached. What if she doesn't like the house? What if she wants to go back? He kept asking. Ethan, why are you so nervous? And Michael asked. Because if she doesn't like it, it'll be my fault. I was the one who accepted the offer. And if she does like it, then we'll finally be together for real. On moving day, Michael took Ethan to pick up Olivia from the shelter. She was waiting with a small suitcase, clearly nervous too. Hi, Liv, Ethan said, hugging his sister. Hi, Ethan. Am I really going to live with you? Yes, you are. And you'll love it. The house is big and Emma can't wait to meet you. On the way home, Olivia asked dozens of questions about the house, about Emma, about their routine. Ethan, do you have your own room? She asked. I do. And you'll have yours too. Really? My own room? Really? Olivia's eyes widened. She had never had a room just for herself. When they arrived home, Emma was waiting in the living room with Michael. Seeing Olivia, she was shy at first but soon approached. Hi, Emma said softly. Hi, Emma. I'm Olivia. Sister, Emma exclaimed, remembering the word Ethan had taught her. Yes, sister? Olivia smiled, clearly delighted. Michael showed Olivia her room, which he had carefully prepared. It was simple but cozy, with a new bed, a wardrobe, and a small desk. "This room is just mine," Olivia asked, disbelieving. "Just yours," Michael confirmed. She ran to the window and looked out. "Ethan, you can see the park where you used to live." "That's right, and now you can go play there whenever you want." Olivia began to cry. "Why are you crying?" Ethan asked, worried. "Because I thought I'd never have a real family again." The statement moved everyone present. "You've always had family, Liv. You've always had me," Ethan said, hugging his sister. "I know. But now we have a home and family too." During the first few days, Olivia adjusted quickly. She and Emma became fast friends, and Ethan was overjoyed watching them play together. "Ethan, you seem different," Michael observed. "How so?" "More relaxed, less worried." "It's because now I know where Liv is, and I know she's okay." The difference was noticeable. Ethan smiled more, played more. It seemed he was finally allowing himself to be a child. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, continuing. One afternoon, while the children played in the backyard, Michael received a call that would change everything. "Mr. Thompson, this is Dr. Sarah. We need to talk. It's urgent." "What happened?" "The children's birth mother has come forward. She wants them back." Michael felt the world crumble around him. "What do you mean she's come forward?" "She found out through the system that the children were in the foster care process and came to claim custody." "Can she do that?" "Technically, yes. Her parental rights were never legally terminated." "What now?" "You need to come here immediately. The children can't know yet." Michael hung up with trembling hands. How was he going to tell Ethan and Olivia? How could he explain that the stability they'd found might be taken away? At the lawyer's office, Michael met Jessica Davis, the children's birth mother. She was a woman in her 30s, thin, with clear signs of having endured hard times. "Mr. Thompson, I know you must be taking good care of my children," she began, "but they're my kids." "Mrs. Davis, where have you been for the last 2 years?" Dr. Sarah asked. "I was getting treatment, trying to get better so I could take care of them." "What kind of treatment?" "Treatment for addiction and psychological issues." Michael felt a mix of compassion and protectiveness for the children. "And you're well now?" he asked. "I'm better. I have a job, a small apartment. I can care for them." "Mrs. Davis, do you understand the children have been through a lot of trauma?" Dr. Sarah continued. "I know, and I regret not being able to care for them before, but I can now." Ethan ran away from the shelter 3 times to stay with his sister. "Are you prepared to handle that kind of situation?" "They won't need to run from me. I'm their mother." Michael realized the situation was more complicated than he'd thought. "Mrs. Davis, may I ask you something?" he said. "Go ahead." "Do you know Ethan took care of Olivia alone for a long time?" "I do, and I'm grateful to him for that." "Do you know he developed a strong sense of responsibility for her?" "I do." "And do you understand he might struggle to trust that you can care for her this time?" Jessica hesitated. "I'll prove to him I've changed." "How?" "By being the mother they deserve." Dr. Sarah intervened. "Mrs. Davis, the process isn't that simple. There will need to be a psychological evaluation, supervised visits, an adjustment period." "How long will that take?" "A few months." "And where will they stay during that time?" "They can remain with Mr. Thompson if he agrees, while we go through the reintegration steps." Michael felt relief knowing the children wouldn't be taken away immediately. "I agree," he said. "Why would you do that?" Jessica asked. "Because the children have been through enough trauma. I don't want them in an unstable situation while you prove you're ready." "And if I prove I'm ready, then they go back to you. And you'll just give up on them like that?" The question caught Michael off guard. "Mrs. Davis, I don't own the children. If you can prove you can give them what they need, then that's what matters. But you've grown attached to them." "I have, but their well-being comes first." Back at home, Michael agonized over how to break the news to the children. He decided to talk to Ethan alone first. "Ethan, I need to talk to you about something important." "About what?" "About your mother." Ethan's face tensed. "What about her?" "She's come forward. I want you back." Ethan turned pale. But she said she couldn't take care of us." "She says she can now, that she got treatment and is better." "And you believe her?" "I don't know, Ethan. We need to give her a chance to prove it." "What if she's lying? What if she leaves us again?" "That's why it'll be a gradual process. She'll have to prove she's ready. And in the meantime, you'll stay here." Ethan was silent for a long moment. "And then, if she proves she can take care of us, then you'll go back to her. And you? Will you miss us?" The question broke Michael's heart. "I'll miss you both so much." "Then why are you letting her try?" "Because she's your mother, Ethan. And because if she's really changed, you deserve to have a real family." "But aren't you our family?" Michael fought back tears. "I wish I could be, but your mother has the legal right to try first." "What if we don't want to go back to her?" "That will be considered too. Your opinion matters. And Olivia's." "Hers too." That night, Ethan told Olivia about their mother. Their conversation was overheard by Michael, who stood in the hallway. "Liv, do you remember Mum?" Ethan asked. "A little. She was sad a lot." "Yeah, but maybe she's better now." "Do you want to go back to her?" "I don't know, do you?" "I like living here. I like Michael and Emma." "Me too. But if Mum really changed..." "Do you think she did?" "I don't know. We'll have to find out." "What if she didn't?" "Then we come back here." "Promise?" "Promise." Jessica's first visits were tense. The kids were clearly uncomfortable, especially Ethan, who stayed guarded. "You've both grown so much," Jessica said, tears in her eyes. "That's what happens when time passes," Ethan replied coldly. "Ethan, I know you're mad at me." "I'm not mad. I just don't get why now." "Because now I'm better. I got treatment." "And last time? What happened last time?" Jessica hesitated. "Last time I wasn't ready. I was sick and couldn't take care of you properly." "Then why didn't you say that? Why did you lie?" "Because I was afraid you'd hate me." "We didn't hate you," Olivia chimed in. "We just wanted you to get better." Olivia's innocence contrasted with Ethan's sharpness. "Ethan, can I try to explain better?" Jessica asked. "Go ahead. When you were little, I was dealing with really big problems. Problems I didn't know how to fix. And they made me very sick." "What kind of sick?" "Sick in my mind. And I was taking medicine that wasn't good for me." "Drugs?" "Yes. And they made me confused, unable to care for you, right?" Ethan took it in. "And now?" "Now I don't take those anymore. I see real doctors and take medicine that helps me stay well." "How can we be sure?" "You can meet my doctors, see where I live, ask anything you need." Over the next weeks, visits grew longer and more frequent. Jessica showed the kids her small but clean apartment, introduced her doctors, shared work documents. Ethan slowly relaxed but stayed protective of Olivia. "Ethan, can we talk alone?" Jessica asked during one visit. "Sure. I know you took care of Olivia when I couldn't, and I know you feel responsible for her. I am responsible for her. You were responsible for her, but now it's my turn. How can I be sure?" "You can't. You'll have to trust me. Last time I trusted you, you disappeared. The accusation was blunt and painful. You're right not to trust me. But can I try to earn your trust again?" Ethan thought for a moment. "How?" "By proving, day after day, that I've changed, that I can take care of you. And what if you can't? Then you tell me, and we'll find another solution. Like going back to Michael? If that's what it takes." Ethan seemed a little more at ease. After 2 months of supervised visits, Jessica was approved to have the kids on weekends. The first weekend was hard for everyone. Ethan called Michael 3 times, worried about little things that normally wouldn't bother him. "Ethan, how are things?" Michael asked on the 3rd call. "She's trying, but it's not the same here." "It doesn't have to be the same, it just has to be good." And if it's not good enough, then you talk to me and Dr. Sarah. Are you okay? Do you miss us? I miss you a lot. The house is too quiet without you. Does Emma miss us too? She does. She asks about you all the time. We'll be back Monday. I know. I'll be waiting. On Sunday night, when the kids returned, they were visibly emotionally drained. How was it? Michael asked. Hard, Ethan admitted, but she really tried. What about you, Olivia? It was okay, but I missed Emma. And us, Ethan added. We missed our routine here. That's normal. Change is always hard. Over the next few months, weekends with Jessica became easier. The kids started feeling more comfortable, and Ethan gradually let his guard down. Ethan, can I ask you something? Michael said one evening. Sure. How do you feel about your mom now? Better. She really seems different. Different how? More present, less nervous, and she doesn't lie anymore. She lied before? About being okay when she wasn't. Now when she's tired or worried, she says so. And that's good? Yeah, because then we know what to expect. And do you believe she can take care of you? Ethan hesitated. I think so. But I'm still scared. Of what? That she'll get sick again and leave us. That's a fair fear. But Ethan, sometimes we have to take risks to get what we really want. And what do I really want? Only you can answer that. That night, Ethan talked at length with Olivia. Liv, do you want to go back and live with Mom? He asked. I want to live with her, but I also want to live here. We can't live in both places. Why not? Because that's not how it works. But can we visit Michael and Emma anytime? If Mom says yes. Do you think she will? I think so. Then okay. The simplicity of Olivia's acceptance contrasted with the complexity of Ethan's feelings. After 4 months of the process, the time came for the final decision. Jessica had passed all evaluations and was officially cleared to regain custody. Ethan, it's time for you to decide, Dr. Sarah said during a final meeting. Do you want to go back and live with your mom? Ethan looked at everyone present. Michael, Jessica, Dr. Sarah, Mrs. Reynolds. Can I ask some questions first? Of course. Mom, if I go back to live with you, can I still visit Michael and Emma? Yes. And if you get sick again, will you tell us the truth? I will. And if you can't take care of us, will you ask for help? I will. And if I want to keep studying to be a physical therapist, will you support me? I'll support whatever you want to study. Ethan looked at Michael. Michael, if we go back to her, will you still be our friend? Always, Michael answered, his voice thick. And if something goes wrong, can we come to you? Always. Ethan took a deep breath. Then I want to try, but on one condition. What? Jessica asked. If at any point I feel that Olivia isn't doing well or isn't safe, I'll speak up, and all of you will listen to me. Agreed, everyone said. The move was scheduled for the end of the month. During the last few weeks at Michael's house, the children swung between excitement and nostalgia. Ethan, can I give you something? Michael said the night before the move. Sure. Michael handed Ethan a simple cell phone. It's for you. It has my number, Dr. Sarah's, and everyone else who can help you. Thank you. And Ethan, you know you can call me anytime for any reason, right? I know. Not just if there's a problem. You can call just to talk too. Okay. And you can come visit us whenever you want. Will Emma remember us? She will. And I'll make sure to talk about you to her every day. On moving day, the goodbyes were emotional. Emma didn't understand why Ethan and Olivia were leaving and cried when they picked up their bags. Don't cry, Emma, Ethan said, kneeling beside her. We'll visit you all the time and keep doing your exercises, okay? One step at a time. Emma nodded, still crying. Sister, she said to Olivia. That's right, I'm your sister. And I always will be, Olivia replied, hugging Emma. Michael held both children tightly. Thank you for teaching me so much about family, he said. Thank you for taking care of us when we needed it, Ethan answered. 6 months later, life had settled for everyone. Ethan and Olivia were living with Jessica and adjusting well. They visited Michael and Emma every weekend, and the friendship between the families had grown stronger. "How are things with your mum?" Michael asked during one of these visits. "Good. She's really changed," Ethan replied. "I still get scared sometimes, but with each passing day I feel safer." "And school?" "I'm doing well. The teacher says I have a real knack for working with special needs kids." "Still want to be a physical therapist?" "I do." Emma inspired me. Emma had continued to improve and now ran around the backyard with impressive ease. "Emma, show Ethan how you run," Michael said. Emma took off running, laughing loudly, completely confident in her movements. "One step at a time," Ethan said, smiling proudly. "She never forgot the lesson," Michael remarked. "Neither did I. The lesson about legs? The lesson about not giving up, about patience, about believing things can get better." A year later, Jessica had fully stabilized in her job and treatment. The kids were happy and well-adjusted. Michael had become like an honorary uncle to them. "Ethan, can I tell you something?" Michael said during a Sunday lunch. "Sure. Meeting you changed my life too." "How so?" "It taught me about perseverance, about family, about how love can show up in the most unexpected places." "And you don't regret helping us?" "Never. It was one of the best decisions I ever made. Even having to let us go." "Letting you go was painful, but seeing you happy with your mom was worth it." "And now? Are you happy?" "I am. Emma's doing well, you're doing well. I have an extended family I love. What more could I ask for?" 2 years after their first meeting in the park, Ethan was finishing middle school with excellent grades and clear plans for the future. Olivia had turned out to be a talented artist and was participating in school exhibitions. "Ethan, do you still remember the first time we met?" Michael asked. "I do. You were worried about Emma, and she couldn't walk properly. And you showed up out of nowhere and changed everything. I just wanted to help, and you did, more than you know." "How so?" "You taught me that sometimes the simplest solutions are the most effective, that patience and kindness are worth more than money and resources." "And you taught me that there are good people in the world," Ethan replied. "Good people like you, and like you." During a special visit to the park where it all began, now renovated with equipment for children with special needs, Ethan watched other kids playing. "Michael, can I tell you a secret?" he said. "Of course. Sometimes I come here and help other kids, just like I helped Emma." "And how do they react?" "At first they're suspicious, but then they understand I just want to help." "And do you use the same technique?" "The same philosophy, one step at a time, no rush." "And does it work?" "It always works, because it's not just about the legs. It's about believing every little step matters." Michael smiled, seeing how Ethan had turned his personal experience into wisdom to help others. "Ethan, do you know you're making a difference in other children's lives?" "I hope so, like you made a difference in mine and Olivia's." "And your mom? How does she feel about it?" "She's proud. She says supporting me and helping others is part of being a good mom now. And she's right." 3 years after their first meeting, during Emma's birthday party, the whole extended family was gathered. Michael and Emma, Ethan and Olivia, Jessica, and even Mrs. Reynolds, who had become a close family friend. "Who would have thought an afternoon at the park would change so many lives?" Mrs. Reynolds remarked. "It's amazing how things connect," Jessica agreed. "If Ethan hadn't run away from the shelter, if I hadn't taken Emma to the park that day," Michael added. "If Emma hadn't needed help," Ethan chimed in. "And if you hadn't known how to help," Olivia finished. "I think everything happened the way it was supposed to," Ethan concluded. "Everything in its own time, one step at a time." Emma, now 5 years old and running freely, approached the group. "Ethan, can you teach me how to help other kids too?" she asked. "Of course, little princess, when you're a little older." "Why only when I'm older?" "Because helping others is a big responsibility. It has to be done with lots of kindness and patience." "I have kindness and patience." "You sure do. So we can start slow, one lesson at a time." Emma beamed, and Michael watched the scene with a full heart. The circle was completing itself. Ethan, who had been helped and then helped others, was now passing those values on to Emma. "Michael, can I ask you something?" Ethan said later as they cleaned up after the party. "Of course. You consider yourself Emma's dad, right?" "I am Emma's dad." "And you consider me—" "I consider you my son in my heart. You and Olivia. Even though we don't live here? Family isn't about where you sleep. It's about who you carry in your heart. So we're really family. The realest family there is." Ethan smiled, finally having the confirmation he'd always sought. "Michael? Yes? Thank you for believing in me when I was just a dirty kid in the park. Thank you for teaching me that life's greatest lessons come from the most unlikely people." 5 years after their first meeting, Ethan was graduating high school with plans to study physical therapy. He had started a social project to help children with motor difficulties, using the renovated park as a base. During the graduation ceremony, Michael sat in the audience, proud as any father. Ethan Davis, the principal announced, graduating first in his class with a full scholarship to the university's physical therapy program. The applause was deafening. When Ethan stepped onto the stage to receive his diploma, he searched for Michael in the crowd and waved. In his graduation speech, Ethan spoke about overcoming challenges, family, and how small gestures can change entire lives. "I learned that life is like learning to walk," he said into the microphone. "You might fall, you might get hurt, you might feel afraid. But if you have patience and people who believe in you, you can always try again. One step at a time." The audience was moved by his words, but few understood the depth of the metaphor like Michael, who had tears in his eyes. After the ceremony, the whole family gathered to celebrate. "Ethan, what's the next step?" Jessica asked, proud of her son. "Starting college and continuing the project at the park. I want to help as many kids as I can." "And you're sure this is what you want?" Michael asked. "I'm sure. I found my purpose the day I met Emma. I want to spend the rest of my life helping kids discover they're capable of more than they imagine." Olivia, now a talented and confident teenager, hugged her brother. "I want to help too. I can do the drawings and paintings to decorate the project space." "Of course. We work as a team. We always have." Emma, now 8 years old, approached the group. "Ethan, when I grow up, can I work with you too?" "Of course, little princess. But first you need to finish school." "I'll study hard. And I'll always remember, one step at a time." "That's right." That night, after everyone had left, Michael and Ethan stayed talking on the porch, just like they had since the day they first met. "Ethan, are you proud of the path you've taken?" "I am. It was hard, but it was worth it." "And do you have any regrets?" "Just one." "What?" "Not meeting you sooner. Maybe things would have been easier. But if we'd met sooner, maybe we wouldn't have been ready to learn what we did together." "That's true. Timing is everything, huh?" "It's everything." "Michael." "Yes? Thank you for changing my life. Thank you for changing mine." 10 years after their first meeting, Ethan's project had become a national model for serving children with special needs. He had graduated as a physical therapist, specialized in pediatrics, and was pursuing a master's degree. The park where it all began had transformed into a state-of-the-art rehabilitation center, serving families from across the region. During the center's official opening, Ethan gave an emotional speech. "This place represents so much more than a rehabilitation facility," he told the audience. "It's proof that when we believe in each other, we can overcome any obstacle." Michael sat in the front row beside Emma, now a dedicated pre-teen student and volunteer for the project. Olivia was on stage, presenting a piece of art she had created especially for the occasion. 10 years ago, I was a lost boy with no hope for a better future," Ethan continued. "Today I'm a fulfilled professional who can offer hope to other children. And that transformation was only possible because someone believed in me when I needed it most." He looked directly at Michael. "Because someone taught me that family isn't defined by blood but by love. That home isn't a place. It's where your heart feels safe." The audience was deeply moved. But the most important lesson I've learned is that we can all make a difference in someone's life. Sometimes with big gestures, sometimes with small acts of kindness, but always with patience and love. After the event, the family celebrated together at home. "Ethan, are you happy with what you've achieved?" Jessica asked. "I'm proud of what we've built together," he replied, looking at everyone present, "because none of this would have been possible without each of you." "And what's the next dream?" Emma asked. "Expanding the project to other cities, training more professionals, helping as many children as possible." "And in your personal life?" Olivia asked with a mischievous smile. Ethan blushed. "Well, there's a physical therapist who works with me on the project." "Ah," everyone exclaimed in unison. "Is she special?" Michael asked. "Very special, and she understands my life's purpose." "What's her name?" Emma wanted to know. "Catherine. She's also worked with special needs children for years." "And does she know our story?" Jessica asked. "She does, and she says she wants to get to know the family that shaped me better." "Then bring her over for dinner with us," Michael suggested. "Really?" "Really. We want to meet the one who won our Ethan's heart." That night, after everyone had gone to bed, Ethan stayed on the porch, gazing at the park where his life had changed. Michael joined him. "What are you thinking about?" Michael asked. "How unpredictable life is. If someone had told me 10 years ago that I'd be here today, you wouldn't have believed it? I wouldn't have dared to dream so big. And now I believe anything is possible for any child as long as they have someone who believes in them. Like I believed in you, like you believed in me, and like I'll believe in every child I help. It's a beautiful cycle. It's the best kind of cycle. The cycle of love and hope." A year later, Ethan married Catherine in a simple ceremony at the park. Emma was the flower girl, Olivia was the matron of honor, Michael was the best man, and Jessica cried with emotion watching her son start his own family. During the wedding speech, Ethan spoke about how love had come into his life in unexpected ways. "Love first came as a protective brother who took care of me," he said, looking at Olivia. "Then as a mother who fought to heal and return to us." He glanced at Jessica. "Next as a father at heart who welcomed us when we needed it most." He looked at Michael. "And as a sister at heart who taught us about joy." He smiled at Emma. "And now it comes as a partner who shares my dream of making a difference in the world." He turned to Catherine. "Each of you has taught me a different way to love, and today I am whole because I carry all these loves with me." The ceremony was celebrated with all kinds of family, biological, adoptive, chosen, and at heart. A celebration of love's diversity. 2 years after the wedding, Ethan and Catherine announced they were expecting their first child. "What will you name them?" Emma asked, excited at the idea of being an aunt. "If it's a boy, Michael," Ethan replied, looking emotionally at his father at heart. "Ethan?" Michael tried to speak, but the words wouldn't come. "And if it's a girl, Emma Olivia," Catherine finished. Emma beamed. "Are you sure?" she asked. "We're sure," Ethan confirmed. "We want our children to carry the names of the people we love most." "What if they're twins?" Olivia teased. "Then we'll use both names." Catherine laughed. 9 months later, Emma Olivia was born, a healthy and bright little girl who from an early age showed signs of inheriting her father's sensitivity. On Emma Olivia's first birthday, the whole family gathered at the park, now renamed the One Step at a Time Children's Rehabilitation Center. "It's surreal to think it all started here," Catherine remarked, looking around. "And it's beautiful to see how this place has transformed," Jessica added. "Not just the place," Michael observed. "All of us have transformed." "For the better," Olivia agreed. "Much for the better." Emma, now a teenager and a regular volunteer at the center, confirmed. Ethan watched his daughter playing with other children, some with special needs, all naturally included in the fun. "Catherine, do you think she'll want to follow the same path?" he asked. "I think she'll choose her own path, but I'm certain that whatever it is, it will be one of love and compassion. Just like she learned from her father," Michael remarked proudly. That afternoon, as they watched the children playing, Ethan reflected on the journey he had taken. "You know what's most amazing?" he said to Catherine. "What? If someone asked me what I'd change about my story, I wouldn't change a thing. Not even the hard times. Not even the hard times, because they brought me here. They made me who I am." "And who are you?" "Someone who believes every child deserves a chance, that every family can be formed in different ways, that love is stronger than any obstacle. And that one step at a time, we get where we need to go," Catherine added, smiling. "Exactly." As the sun set over the park, lighting up the children playing freely, Ethan felt a deep peace. He had found his place in the world, his family, his purpose, and it had all started with a simple act of kindness between one lost child and another who needed help. One step at a time, they had built an entire life. The end. So, dear listener, what did you think of this touching story of perseverance and love? Tell us which part moved you the most, and if you know similar stories of transformation through kindness. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more heartwarming tales.